Tori Amos. 1992. Tori Amos. 1994. 2002. Tori Amos. 2005. And now. 2 decades of unparalleled music. Millions of adoring fans. One artist and her piano. Sirius 18 The Spectrum is proud to bring you an exclusive presentation of Tori Amos, live performing songs from American Doll Posse, her highly anticipated 9th album that was released earlier today. Now, from the intimate Showtime Live in New York City, here's The Spectrum's Demos.
Hello and welcome. I'm at Spotlight Live. It's a tiny little club in New York City on an exciting day for music fans, an extra exciting day for Tori Amos fans. Her 9th album, American Doll Posse, hit stores earlier today, and in just a minute, she'll play live for you. It's going to be a short 30-minute set focused on new songs, performed solo in front of invited audience members, Tori's fan club, you and I on the Spectrum. After her performance airs, you'll hear an in-depth conversation she and I had earlier today. It's definitely worth sticking around for. And as you'd expect, Tori didn't hold back. Here's a moment of our conversation.
To me, the most sacred thing that you can do is to create life. And that takes a sexual act. And yes, these days you can do it through a petri dish. But I really wanted to claim the idea that the sexual act and creating life and the blood was a sacred and central part of being a woman.
Our entire conversation with Tori comes up right after she plays live for you and I here on the Spectrum. Without further ado, to introduce Tori Amos, let's go backstage to stage with Caroline Corley.
Can you turn down the music, please? Mr. Soundman? Hey, Mr. Soundman, can you turn down the music, please? Hey, Mr. Soundman, can you turn down the music, please? We got a show to do tonight. May I have your attention, please? This is a live broadcast, so if you all would take a moment right now to turn off your cell phones or put them on vibrate, I'll wait. Everybody ready? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a very special event. I'm Caroline Corley from Sirius Satellite Radio, and we are very delighted to be broadcasting live from a private record release party in New York City for a worldwide audience. We are here to celebrate the release of American Doll Posse. The new Tori Amos album is available in stores today, and some of the very first people to buy the record are with us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please welcome Miss Tori Amos.
We could make this easy. easy love, easy. We make this easy. You, now we can make this easy, easy love, easy. We could make this easy. It's not as heavy as it seems, heavy as it seems, wrapped in metal, wrapped in metal. Sweet boy, wrapped in metal, wrapped in ivy. Radical in cotton, purified in my satin, but the balm of the season is a velvet revolution. I look at the sky and feel the tears of the prophets crying. I look at the sky and feel the rain of tears, feeling radical in cotton, purified in my satin, but the balm of the season is a velvet revolution. All you killers of the children, there's a new commandment. The true divine creator wants a velvet revolution. All you killers of the children, there's a new commandment. The true divine creator wants a velvet revolution.
Tori Amos, American Doll Posse, live on the Spectrum.
Hello there, everybody. It's wonderful to see everybody tonight. Smacked upside of the head with the harsh of daylight, so simple as evening, the beauty of speed. changing. The beauty of speed. I'm coming back for more. Out of a black and white world, past the shooting star. The beauty of speed. Even still, I was built to tolerate your temper. Sure, it fluctuates, so I must break through the bleak of winter, through your latest barrier, your latest barrier, smacked upside of the head with the harsh of daylight, so simple last evening, the beauty of speed. Afraid we've been changing in a way I wasn't loving. Feel those colors changing. The beauty of speed. I'm coming back for more. Out of my black and white world, past the shooting star. The beauty of speed. I tried to strike a deal with the universe, me and my deals with the universe, smacked upside of the head with the harsh of daylight, so simple last evening, the beauty of speed. Oh, afraid we've been changing in a way I wasn't loving. Feel those colors changing. The beauty of soon went down past Roosterspur Bridge, perhaps just a trickle of the light. I thought I heard the sweetest guitar. Was it a rock and roll, Jesus? Sometimes I think I understand the fear in the boy, the fire in the man. Sometimes I watch the wonder in your eyes, but when you're leaving, I have memorized that when you're leaving, I have stop laughing, oh, when I stop wanting to win, sometimes I think I understand the fear in the boy, the fire in the man. Sometimes I watch the wonder in your eyes, but then you leave it. I have memorized. Do you even see me now? Do you think of us who still do? I always read things and before a day's delirious on Roosterspur Bridge. Sometimes I think I understand the fear in a boy, the fire in the man. Sometimes I watch the wonder in your eyes, and you leaving. I have memorized. Didn't you leave me? Didn't you leave it? I have memorized. Soon went down past Roosterspur Bridge, perhaps just a trickle of the light. I thought I heard the sweetest guitar. Was it a rock and roll, Jesus? Sometimes I think I understand the fear in the boy, the fire in the man. Sometimes I watch the wonder in your eyes, but then you leaving. I have memorized. But then you leaving. I have memorized. Drove all night through sliding rifles, thinking I'd find something that we lost. Can't remember when you stop laughing, oh, when I stop wanting to win. Sometimes I think I understand the fear in a boy, the fire in the man. Sometimes I watch the wonder in your eyes, but then you leave it. I have memorized. we memorized. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. Just a minute of your time, yes. I've been known to delude myself, so let me put those rose-colored glasses to the test. Now is this real enough for you? 'Cause blondes here don't jump out at cakes. If that never impressed you much, come board this lunatic express. Just why do they say have a nice day? Anyway, we both know they wouldn't mind if I just curled up and died. Oh, let's not give that one a try. Chill, put on a pair of these roses, raise those blinds. Chin up, a happy mask was never your best disguise. Chin up, put on a pair of these roses. In no time, you will feel almost fine, almost rosy. Hey, hey. Now some girls here will huddle with, no, not football players that are rich, but we'll confide in small white sticks. He bats as the Virginian Slim. Then I tried once to comply with an authority that would subsidize my wild side, but if this or two was sacrificed, yes, you can laugh a femme fatale and ooh, bride's dress now married to the effortlessness of the cracks that lie now in between the facts. Just why do they say have a nice day? Anyway, we both know they wouldn't mind if I just curled up and died. Oh, let's not give that one a try. Chin up, put on a pair of these roses, raise those blinds. Chin up, a happy mask was never your best disguise. Chin up, put on a pair of these roses. In no time, you will feel almost fine, almost rosy. Hey, hey, hey. Now about when Violet died, the coast still unidentified. But her love would be enough, but you can't seduce seduction. Her tentacles of endless want reach through my corridors and tempt me to taste of her power. I sober with a witching hour, and when I hear of one more bomb, yes, we have all been robbed of song and nightingales who throw their arms up when is enough, enough. Just why do they say Should I put on a pair of these roses, razor bright? A chin up, a happy mask was never yours. Disguise. Chin up, put on a pair of these roses. In no time, you will feel almost fine, almost rosy. Hey, 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 feeling almost rosy. Hey, 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 feeling almost rosy.
Tori Amos, live, exclusively on Sirius 18, The Spectrum.
Steady girl on your feet, you and your wanderings. Bread can feed a few, so can some cartoons. So it ends, so it begins. I'm my father's son, planted near the seed of hate, in a trusting virgin gun. Steady girl for the show, God versus God ringside, littered with corpses neither God can forgive. So the desert blooms a strawberry cactus. Can you blame nature if she's hitting of others? So it ends, so it begins. I'm my father's son, planted near the seed of hate, in a trusting virgin gun. Steady boy, watch them pray. To you I suspect, if you keep my flesh firm, I'll ready those sacraments. So it ends, so it begins. I'm my father's son. So it ends, so it begins. I'm my father's son, planted near the seed of hate, in another father's son.
What a performance. Tori Amos live at Spotlight Live in New York City, exclusively on Sirius 18 The Spectrum. 30 minutes of incredible songs with her new CD, American Doll Posse, out now. Perform some songs alone. Quite different from the album, but if you had a chance to hear it, you know what I mean. I'm Demos, and before Tori played, I promised you that I spoke to her earlier. We had a conversation, and here's how it went in the Sirius Studios. On the day of her 9th studio album hitting the stores, American Doll Posse, Tori Amos is here. Thank you for coming in.
Hello, Demos. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. I'm actually a little, I'm very excited you're here.
Well, tell everybody when we first met, because you were reminding me when I just walked in.
It was 15 years ago at WFNX in Boston. It was my first day of my internship. And there was this beautiful woman with these giant sunglasses on. As I opened the door, there you were. And it was like, this is Tori Amos.
See, giant sunglasses before Posh Spice.
Yeah,
15 years ago. Imagine that.
You're way ahead of the curve.
Oh, I should be a footballer's wife. But I'm a football supporter's wife. In fact, I've been getting so much flack for this MILF thing that I was thinking for the Brits, maybe I should do FILF, which would be, so I would change the mother to football supporter's wife. I'm a football supporter's wife. I'd like to...
It's funny because MILF, or aren't there stations that aren't playing your song because of that? They think it's what?
Yeah, it's kind of surprising to me, but yes, it is. And with telly, as you know, there's certain TV shows that you do, and they have issue. If you're doing the nipple station, the one that had the Janet Jackson issue, then they come up and they gingerly try and say there's usually some cool girl that has been designated to come up and say, we're so sorry. It's kind of cute because you're already there at the show. You know, the band's there, you're there, everybody's there. And 10 minutes in, they say, we can't have that word. So it's funny for me as a 43-year-old woman that of all words, that's such an issue. You're saying MILF or MILF. It's not like you're saying... that word, yeah. Exactly. But there you go, whatever people need to feel better. Well, luckily we play it on the Spectrum, but you know, it brings up a point. Like you bring up MILF. Do you consider yourself a MILF? Well, Demos, these days I think that I'm feeling a little bit better about that. Yes, my niece was the one. One of my nieces, she's 15 now. Her name's Kelsey, and she had said to me about a year ago. She said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "What do you mean? What am I doing? I'm going down to the pool at our beach house in Florida." She said, "Yeah, not in that." I said, "What do you mean not in that? It's cute. It's from London." And she said, "Yeah, wrong. It's Uncle Mark's coming in tonight," and just wrong. And so she's holding up this bikini, and she said, "Put this on. You are a MILF." Oh. And that was the beginning of our joke. That is fantastic. Now, you have 5 characters, and they all are beautiful for American Doll Posse. And there's 5 characters. Now, did you write these characters before you started writing the lyrics to the music, or did you do it during? You make these characters during the process or after? Well, first what started coming was the music. And no, the lyrics were not written by the time the women were developing. I think I was hearing distinct styles in the composition. And when I look at things as a composer, I can usually find a musical thread. But I recognize that the arrangements, for the compositions to work, they'd have to be drastically different than just a singer-songwriter record arrangement. And I pulled back, and it was more the producer side of my brain that said, if this is going to work, we're either making mini records here, or we're making one record with different voices for this to be cohesive and to make sense. And you have your 5 characters, Santa, Clyde, Isabel, Pip, and Tori, which you can see the pictures on the cover of American Doll Posse. You have one word that describes each woman. But can we go into a little more depth on each character briefly? Well, each woman is named because these are, as I've said, the idea of this project really is the feminine. When you look at it, the dismembered feminine remembered. And I'm talking about our ancient stories as women. Our ancient stories go back to many cultures, not just the Christian myth, where it's been whittled down really to 2 stories, the one of the Mother Mary and the one of the Magdalene. And in the Christian myth, as we know, the Mother Mary is stripped of her sexuality, and the Magdalene doesn't have a whole lot except her sexuality in the story. So therefore, as a minister's daughter, I was thinking, hang on a minute. The Christian right wing is so powerful in America, and I think it's one reason that the women are so distracted. They don't even realize why they're divided and distracted. So they need to remember what their myth is, and it's very complex. So I thought, let's go back pre-Christian, and I'll use my body and me as sort of, I'll open my toolbox and apply these great female archetypes to Tori. And that was the beginning. So each word comes from my name. Expiratorial is Pip. She holds Athena, and she's the warrior. She wears rubber.
And Santa?
Santa comes from sanatorium, mainly because she holds the Aphrodite character type. And as we all know, the idea of sexuality, look at it right now in our culture. It can make people crazy. How they express their sexuality, you have to think, oh, hang on a minute. This is not my idea of sensual. When you have a friend of yours piling out of a car with her legs spread, and it's really demeaning to her. And if you care about this woman, you have to say, hang on a minute, I actually like you. And all these people are laughing at you. That's not sexy to me. I mean, I'm all for erotica, people. I'm right there up front with my high heels on, but that's not sexy. So Santa holds that, and she also holds a sacredness for the body. It's a sacred act.
And what about Clyde?
Clyde clitorides. She carries the Persephone character type. As we all know, the rape of Persephone, and she also has to work through this darkness, and she eventually becomes the queen of the underworld. There's something really introspective about Clyde, and yet I find her vulnerability very strengthening. And Isabel comes from historical. She documents, and she holds Artemis, and I've been really drawn to her lately because she has this ability to see different perspectives. And me personally, I will react to things I have in the past before I listen to all sides. And I like the fact that she doesn't just jump on somebody's side. She really tries to stay neutral. So I've been warming up to Isabel quite a bit. And Tori, of course, holds Demeter. Demeter is the mother character type. And I thought she needed to do that in order to not be jealous of these other personas. Because, you have to realize as you open yourself up as a woman to other images and other sides of yourself, and people start liking those better, you have to say, yeah, but they're all extensions of the self. So you have to be open to that and not let the green monster take over.
Now, all these characters, the 5 female characters of American Doll Posse, I thought I saw a little taste, I don't know, with Strange Little Girls, the album you put out in 2001, and singing men's songs from a female's perspective. Was that the beginning? I
think it was. I think that was a foreshadowing. I'm really fascinated with women and their stories and how involved they can get, the internal world. I love the guys. I'm crazy about you guys. But the stories of women, the multiple roles that we have to play in order to be complete, especially if you're a working mother. And then, imagine this. You have to wear a lot of different hats. You can't, the sexy corset from the night before doesn't really make it in playgroup at 10 o'clock the next morning, or shouldn't.
Yeah, exactly. Who we are as people and artists, there's so many different sides to us, and I like that you brought that as characters. And you'll be bringing them on stage. Like, will you be dressing up, as you said, in corsets earlier and other outfits?
Well, it's the stage show. This is where it does go further than Strange Little Girls. I left that expression, that performance, in portraiture. And this is where the girls step out of the portraits and come alive. It is a discipline for me to hold the character. And sometimes the subtleties are are only slightly different from one to the other. If you hear it in the music, it's not there to confuse you and to make you think that there's no association, because they are associated with each other. They come from the same blood. But each night, I can only hold 2 a night. And so the show will start with one of the girls that is not Tori, and then Act 2 will be Tori, because as I've said, she has that big back catalog, and we can't have a 2-hour show without it, really.
Do you consider yourself an actress when you're out there?
I consider myself more of a performance artist, because the music is central to what I do. And yet, there are a lot of musicians who I have looked to over the years, from Freddie Mercury to David Bowie, that I think do step into this theatrical world when they take the stage. But music is their language.
Tori Amos on the Spectrum. It's just fascinating having you here. And we spoke of Big Wheel earlier, which some stations won't play because of the MILF. How controversial. But can we play the song right now?
Yes, please.
On the Spectrum with Tori Amos. We're with Tori Amos on the Spectrum. American Doll Posse is out today. What's it like sharing your brand new music with the world?
Well, if you had asked me this, there were months and months and months ago, there were really dark times making this record. It's been a lot of effort, and I've made quite a few records now. Each one has its own genesis, and each one has its own kind of, what would you say, gestation period. But I think in writing this, having to try and contain all these different musical styles, yes, it was exhilarating and a huge challenge. And sometimes you would just have to force yourself back in the room with the band to get it right. It was really the producer side of me and composer side of me that was driving the artist, that was making her go back in there and get it right. Whether the artist was, Tori was getting out of the way so that another part of the self came in, the Pip side of the self came in to hold and perform Teenage Hustling. It is different when I allow these other sides to come through. I don't fraternize with the band in the same way. It's not as if I'm playing dress up and I sit and chat on the side to them as I would, as Tori does. Tori is kind of one of the guys and talks to them in that way. But when you walk into Santa, you walk into them. I can't come out of character while I'm holding that energy.
Yeah. I like Pip a lot. I looked at her journal and her blogs, and she seems to be my favorite so far. But what about you? Your favorite character?
Well, she is quite a story. I think they all have their journals running until Christmas. And Pip is dealing with the death of her father. As we all know, Athena was close to Zeus. And I wanted to make sure that there was that link in our story. So her father was in a tragic accident, and he at one time worked for the CIA as a senior analyst at one time. Therefore, she's having to discover what it's like to have this loss in her life. She had a good dad. And I think because of this loss, it's forcing her to get involved in certain, interests that maybe she wouldn't have been, but because of this personal tragedy, she's uncovering all kinds of secrets, and we'll be following her story till December.
And it seems like, Tori, you've made Pip into this political activist, which is, really, it's strong and it's appealing. And
she's becoming one. Yeah. I think Isabel is a social creature. She's an eco-warrior. She is very focused on all kinds of issues that aren't just about the self. But Pip has been forced into looking at the world because of a personal loss. And what I liked was that they're both looking outward, but for two completely different reasons. One is that it's her makeup, which is Isabel, and the other one, Pip, is because of events that have happened in her life that's forcing her to say, well, how did we get here in the first place?
And how did we get here in the first place? With you start the album first song is Yo George on American Doll Posse, The Madness of King George. How do you think he'd react to that song?
Oh, that is the last thing I would ever think about or consider, because I think if you could react to that, then it wouldn't be written. It wouldn't have needed to be written if one could honestly respond to that. I'm really writing that for the masses, for you who are listening, for all of us to say, hang on a minute, if we can look at the mistakes, really look at the mistakes that we all make, then we can ask those questions that need to be asked and then make the right choices, whatever we are. But if you can't look at the fact that there's an elephant shitting in the living room, everybody sort of pretends it's not happening. And you hold your nose and you walk around the house and you say, hang on a minute, we have to address this. So Yo George is really addressing all of us that are Americans that are in this where we are today.
Do you think he'd even listen to it?
It's the last thing that I consider, because it's not about him. It's about us, and that we've turned over our power to the madness.
What is your favorite song on the new album?
Well, if I said, then there'd be mutiny. In Under My Skin.
I was going
kidding?
exactly for that. I was like, come on, which character? Oh, we can just guess. My favorite, Bouncing Off Clouds. Because whenever I was listening to it, I was thinking to myself, if I was driving right now, I'd have a lead foot and a ticket. There's something really driving about that. And would you mind if we play that?
Yeah, it's fun to play because I have two keyboards, one on my left and one on my right, and you get to play them at the same time. And that's one of the most fun things you can do in life.
Wait, we have one on each side? So
yeah.
One hand on each keyboard?
Oh, yeah.
You're kidding me.
Oh, it's fun.
The Spectrum with Tori Amos.
Really had an idea here of it being monochromatic. And I worked with a stylist, Karen Binns. I've known her since Little Earthquake days. She's from Brooklyn, but she lives in London now. And she was brought in, I guess you could say, a year and a half ago as I was developing the songs. I started working on this 2 years ago. I knew enough to just show her snippets. So she and I guess it took us a year and a half to really pull together the physical image of the girls, because I had to do the internal construction of who they all are and what their stories are.
And it comes through. Do you know what about the artwork? It's more of a controversial one. It's not on the CD cover in the front, but there was the one where you're holding...
It's in there.
It's in it. Oh, good, because I was like, that was my favorite photo, because I know you're a PK as well.
Are you a preacher's son?
Oh, thanks for bringing that up. But yeah, and when I saw this, I was like, oh, fantastic. Would you mind describing that beautiful
It's
picture?
in the back. Here, I'll get it for you. It's in the very back, and it's sort of like a little secret. So in the back, you see the house where the credits are, and if you open it, then you get the shot.
Oh, there it is.
There it is.
Good.
That's the Tori bleeding shot. And as a minister's daughter, it seemed to me that it was imperative that there's some accountability for the judgment that has been placed on women. Yes, there's judgment placed on all kinds of people and for your lifestyle, etc. But as women, that's something I just wanted to look at. And the only way that I could do it was through symbolism. To me, the most sacred thing that you can do is to create life. And that takes a sexual act. And yes, these days you can do it through a petri dish. But I really wanted to claim the idea that the sexual act and creating life and the blood was a sacred and central part of being a woman. And there's no monotheistic God that has any power over that act. I refuse to hold it. So not only are we bringing on the mother gods, not only are we bringing on the idea that Jesus's path, the Christ consciousness, which is love your neighbor as yourself, the compassionate Christ, that is not what a lot of Christianity is about. And for those Christians that do walk that path, then I can respect the faith. But there's a lot of cruelty and there's a lot of self-righteousness. And so we decided not going to hold that anymore.
You know what they say about PKs? They always say usually one is a follower, very devout, and the other one is the devil's grandchild.
Well, we know too much.
Yeah.
We know how it operates. And it's very perfect, I think, as a songwriter to know, you know the theology, you understand ideology, you understand how people manipulate it for their own agenda. And it's just not something, there's a lot that I can tolerate, but that's not something I can tolerate. And if you choose to do that, fine. Meaning I'm not going to come and stand outside your door and pick at you as you would do to me. However, for those people that do get sucked in, I'm trying to remind those young women, there's a sacredness that you have with your sexuality. You have to remember this. You are a child that's loved by the divine. Nobody can tell you that you're not. Absolutely nobody.
Tori Amos, an agnostic?
No. I believe in the divine. I have deep spiritual beliefs, and my faith is strong. But maybe it's a mixture of the Eastern Cherokee belief, a mixture of the great myths of all time. I believe in a spirituality that's hard to define, but it's really not controlled by a monotheistic God that seems to enjoy warring.
On a lighter side, Tori, it's such a pleasure to speak with you, whether it's on the heavier or the lighter. I saw one of your fans that had a cool tattoo of you as a pixie on her arm. And I was like, wow, what a cool homage or gift. What is the greatest gift a fan has ever given you?
They give me so many great things. A lot of books come my way that open my mind to ways of thinking that I didn't have before. You and I are having this conversation, and in a year's time, hopefully, I will have met more people that will show me things where I become more enlightened, because each day I say, well, I think this way today, but I'm just a student. I'm just learning like you are. And sometimes you run up against somebody on a plane or somewhere and you think, wow, if I hadn't met this person today, I would not have opened my mind to this new perspective. So, yeah, I think books, just little things that people give you to open your perspective, it's really treasured.
Like your music does for us. American Doll Posse is out today. It's American Doll Posse. You recorded it in England?
Yeah, I recorded it in England, but wrote it quite a bit in the States as I was observing women here. I was troubled. I didn't understand why we didn't rise up and make choices, just make a change 2 years ago. I'm not saying what that change should have been, but I was curious that we wouldn't make a change that would be liberating for humankind as well as womankind, other than standing by a choice that subjugates us, really, when you analyze it. And so I wanted to study us. I wanted to study my fellow sisters. I have a lot of faith in them. And so that's what I did. Instead of becoming the observed, I became the observer. And I followed them around. And yes, some of the fragments of what I saw became woven into the characters of the posse as you know them now.
23 songs on American Doll Posse. There's not one filler. Thank you. Did you leave any on the cutting room floor?
Yes. Yes. And the band are not necessarily happy with me, the ones that got left on the floor. But, I had to make choices. I had to make choices for certain reasons. I'm dealing with the narrative, and I had to be able to tell the story. Isabel had to open us because she is historical. The Tori persona who is walking us through history, that is Isabel. She has to be the one to say, people, history is recording us, what we're doing. Not just the leaders, but the people that have empowered the leaders. So I thought it was essential that the woman that documents starts our story.
American Doll Posse is out today. Still hoping for B-sides, though.
Well, there are two songs that are coming out along with it. They come out, I don't know which outlets have them, because somebody has a poster, somebody has a thisy and a thatty. But there are two other songs that were A-sides along with the 23 to make 26. So you can find them out there.
Oh, we'll find them. ToriAmos.com to find her live. To end, and we ask, what's next for Tori Amos?
Well, I think really doing this tour and making sure the journals tell the story that needs to be told, it is taking a lot more energy than I thought it would. But this is the ride of my life. I'm 43. My mother said to me, she held my hand, and she looked in the mirror not long ago. She does this to me periodically, and she had tears in her eyes. And she said, do you see these two women in the mirror? I said, yeah, Mom, of course I see them. She said, well, this one, and she pointed to herself, I don't recognize her. And I said, I think she's beautiful, Mom. Why don't you recognize that? She goes, because she's old, and I see her running in a field. She's running and you can't catch her, and she's dancing the Charleston. And she has a lot of dreams, and now she has a pacemaker and arthritis, and she can't do the Charleston anymore. And I just looked at her, and I said, yes, but Mom, you're beautiful to me. She said, save it. I want you to look in the mirror and understand. You are at your golden years. You have no excuses. There's no reason for you not to get out of bed. There's no reason for you not to embrace life. I love you, my darling, but stop complaining and go be great.
Such a beautiful moment. My father and I had the same conversation in a different way. It's just like, I can't throw a ball anymore like I used to. And I have, my heart hurts the same way. So it's a beautiful moment.
But it's good, Demos, because we can get to the place where we take on this stereotype that we think we take on that ridiculous Hollywood moniker that at 40-some, as a woman, you don't get treated like Johnny Depp and Brad Pitt. Although I've always said, they may know the taste of a woman, but I know how she thinks. And I'm the same age as those guys. So let's put on the high heels. Let's straddle that seat. Let's play those keyboards. Let's find that mojo. Let's rock. Let's remind those young girls it's just getting started. And by the time you hit 40, you will wake up and feel sexy every morning because you have something else. You have experience and you have an appreciation for your mom and your dad and your life.
Such a beautiful thing having you here, the Spectrum Studios, and really enlightening us and learning about your music and more about you. Even if we think we know a lot, we learn more and more and more, through all your characters.
Well, come see me, come to the show, because I'm dependent on you guys. I'm dependent on the audience. You're part of the show, and I hope to see you out there.
For sure. Tori Amos, the Spectrum Sirius 18.
That was Tori Amos with the Spectrum's Demos. A conversation and exclusive live performance of songs from her brand new album, American Doll Posse. To learn about additional broadcast times of this exclusive presentation of Sirius Satellite Radio, go to Sirius.com/The Spectrum. Thanks to Tori Amos for sharing her music and insight. And thanks to you for listening.